our new sponsor, Deep Creek Glassworks. Well, for any type of gifts, there's a lot of different options. You can do glass pendants, glass straws, marbles, wine glasses, beer glasses. You're getting some good quality glass. It is very durable, fast shipping in crush-resistant boxes. So you know your product's going to get there. As an extra bonus to our listeners, you can get 10% off of your purchase by using the promo code SUPERFUN when you go to their website. That's Deep Creek Glassworks, WORX.etsy.com. And you'll be supporting local business as well.
Welcome back for another episode of Super Fun Game Review Podcast Go. Find us on Facebook.com/SuperFunPodcast, Twitter.com/SuperFunPodcast, Patreon.com/SuperFunPodcast, Instagram @SuperFunPodcastGo, iTunes @SuperFun Game Review Podcast Go. Thanks and enjoy the show.
Welcome back for another episode of Super Fun Game Review Podcast Go! I'm your host tonight, Ralph. To my left, I've got Clark.
I seem to have misplaced my armor.
Across from me, I've got Harry.
Tri-finger butthole.
To my right, I have Steve.
Oh, he did. I mean, you did. Oh, you did. You're dead.
Well met, gentlemen. Well met. So, Dark Souls 3.
Did you introduce yourself and do a quip?
I thought I introduced myself,
But no quit.
but no quip. And you took you took my Zigvard. And I'm your host tonight, Ralph. Now if I just sit here and think, there must be a way. All right, enough with the Zigvard for now. We'll come back to him later. Oh, what did I say?
Sigvard.
Sigvard.
Sigvard. I know his name.
Siegfried.
What is it?
Siegward.
Siegward?
Siegward.
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 Siegward. I'm going to say it wrong all night.
Seaweed. I don't think you can say the Z word.
Squidward. It's Squidward.
It's just like Aya from Parasite
Aya.
Eve.
Aya.
EIO.
All right. We've defeated Bloodborne. This is our first Souls game for the show. Initial impressions.
I bought Dark Souls 3 when it originally came out. Played through about half of it. I got to Abyss Watchers. And I just kind of stopped playing. A bunch of other games came out, and I just kind of like got wrapped up into them. And I really wanted to start playing it again. And so I decided, hey, I'm going to shoot it for the podcast. And hopefully everyone wants to pick it up and play it. And, yeah, I was fucking excited to get back into it, and man, I had a fucking blast playing this game again.
Oh, yeah. Harry?
Honestly, I was very hesitant to step into this game. I knew I wouldn't hate it, because I really enjoyed the Bloodborne universe. But I knew...
You knew what you were in for.
I knew the difficulty spike that was ahead of me, and I knew the time sink that was ahead of me. So initially, I was very hesitant to get in this game.
Gotcha.
But after I spent maybe like 5 or 6 hours playing this, got past like the first boss, and really got into that Undead Village, I think is where it started to like really click.
Okay.
I was like, oh, fuck. I'm in it now. And kind of at that point, I knew it's not just going to be a run to the end of the game. It's going to be a full immersion into this game, and I think I could safely say I got the full experience of this game.
Yeah, this was the first foray into the Dark Souls
Foray.
I heard
Foray.
four-way.
You said four-way. This is my first four-way into
Nice.
This was the first time actually getting into the Dark Souls world, and dear God, again, known for the difficulty, and there's going to be quite a learning curve.
For me, I have to say that, similar to Harry, I knew sort of what I was in for, having played Bloodborne, but I have to, just put out there that I really feel like I had a compromised experience with Bloodborne. Like, I used a guide, and I thought I put a lot of time into it, and I still came up short and had to rush to the end and got the weakest ending. So I didn't want to repeat that. I really, truly did not. And the first maybe 15, 20 hours of this game that I played, I didn't use any kind of a guide at all. I didn't look up bosses. I didn't look up strategies. I didn't do any of that. And I found it really rewarding to hit a difficulty wall and work through it and overcome it and then move on to the next one. I found that playing online and having the messages and the way that the game works, I didn't feel confused as to where to go next, or I wasn't sure what I was in for next. Like, I felt like there were enough hints from the user base in the game that I felt confident I didn't need to look. Because with Bloodborne, it was like, go here, get this. Go there, get this. Go here, get, like, the whole thing that I played I was led, the entire time. And with this, having it be my own experience, really very different. Night and day. Really fucking enjoyed it. All the way up until probably the final boss. But
we'll get into that a little bit.
We will. I have to say that, the lore and everything else, I fell down the rabbit hole. I started watching videos online. I don't like to read item descriptions all that much. I know that's how they mostly do the story that way, where you defeat somebody, you get an item, and you read about it, or you get their armor and you read about it, and then it fleshes out the story. Not that I have any problem with the way that the Soulsborne series tells its stories. I think it's interesting and intricate, but just as me, like, I don't like to play a game like Skyrim and read the books or read tomes or whatever. I'm sort of, I'll pick up the story or give it to me or I'll find it out there. I don't like to have to read in a game anyway. If I want to read a book, I'll read a book. But yeah, initially, really enjoyed it. Let's move into development.
Game development.
All right, so game development.
This is Miyazaki's return after taking Dark Souls 2 pretty much off to mostly curate Bloodborne.
The return of Miyazaki. He seems to be like the driving force to make these games.
Yeah, he's like the godfather of Dark Souls pretty much. He is the driving force behind the quality in the games. Dark Souls 2 is heralded as one of the lowest quality of the 4 Soulsborne games, or the 4 Souls games and the Soulsborne universe in general.
No, we can't forget Demon Souls, right? The one that kicked it off.
Yeah, so it's his return, and it was co-developed with the people that made, or co-directed with the guys that made Dark Souls 2.
Was released 2016? Was it like earlier in the year, like end of first quarter?
Yep.
Early second quarter?
And just to clarify, the version I played was the Ashes of Ariandel, which was April 17th.
The Fire Fades edition.
The Fire Fades edition, 2017. So it contains all the DLC.
Yeah, same
Yep.
one. Same one I played.
So I heard Miyazaki return to this game because of the limitations in Bloodborne.
You sound so stupid the way you said that.
The limitations of Bloodborne.
What? I heard through the grapevine.
Do you want to redo it, or?
No, I love
Okay,
it.
fair enough.
What limitations are we talking about here? Like, just for the story, I guess?
Probably.
Story,
Yeah.
story and level design.
Oh, right, okay.
And when they were designing this game,
Yeah, Harry?
I don't know if I like the strategy for development.
I don't either.
And
If we
then
don't
trying to
have anything
recall
for,
it.
if we don't have anything for development, we just shouldn't shoehorn it in. I think it sounds hollow.
Finish your... Nice. Finish your...
this guy.
Okay, there are no real big issues with the development here for this game. FromSoft basically worked their magic and came through without a hitch. So let's move right into story.
Story.
The story of Dark Souls and how things are in like a cycle. Could you maybe break that down a bit, Clark? Do you want to explain
I don't know
what
if I
happened
would
in Dark
start
Souls?
with that.
No?
Okay, yeah, I wouldn't start with that either.
Don't start with...
What we
okay.
need to do is we need to establish the player's story first, and then we can get into the lore and why his journey is important.
Okay.
The journey.
That's the best way to explain the Dark Souls stuff, because there's the main story that you're experiencing, and then all of this lore that can pile on top of it makes that game incredibly deep and meaningful.
Okay.
So full disclaimer before we get into this, we are not going to hit every little nuance to this story.
Oh,
No.
We're
We got
just-
no chance of
We
that.
don't have enough time for that.
We're just going to go over some of it, touch on maybe some of the characters, some of the background, why certain things are significant.
Yeah,
We're not going to cover everything. It's just an impossible task.
I did this for Bloodborne. I'm going to suggest it here. If you really want incredible, in-depth analysis, go seek out VodiVidia on YouTube. And he just has incredible lore breakdowns for everything.
Yeah, please do. Even if you're a fan, even if you've played the game, if you haven't seen his stuff, definitely check it out. It's high quality content on YouTube.
Namco Bandai
There you go.
even like endorses his content, which I think is really fucking cool.
That says something right there.
So, our character. I started as just like a knight, I guess. What did you guys start as?
I started
Knight.
as a pyromancer.
Ooh.
Pyro?
A knight.
Knight.
I read that the knight is basically a good place to start. I decided to go with knight, and I used the knight armor almost exclusively throughout my playthrough. I was still wearing knight armor stuff when I got to the Soul of Cinder. I mean, I did have some other stuff, but I still used like the helmet and the legs and the hands.
I mean, that's the
Gloves.
crazy thing about the game in general. It's more of a gameplay thing.
Yeah.
But is like every piece of armor, if it is like tried and true for you, like you just don't change that kind of thing.
I felt like that helmet was my face.
Right. All right. So let's get into the story.
The bells ring,
Yeah, the bells ring.
and you awaken from the ash.
So you're pretty much being introduced into this world as a world that cycles through these people going to try to rekindle the first flame.
Right.
And every time someone gets to the first flame, they either fail, they die, or they seek power and become these Lords of Cinder. Okay, so
They're essentially people that can link the fire without dying.
yeah,
And linking the fire then.
turns
it
them into
turns
a
the cycle.
soul of
Yeah,
Cinder.
it continues the age of fire.
Right.
Oh, it continues it. It doesn't reset it.
No, it doesn't reset.
No, it just continues the age of fire. So what happens is once you link the flame burns bright for a while, and then it starts to go back,
Yeah.
and then someone else needs to make this pilgrimage to go and link the flame.
Okay.
So you're rising up as pretty much the last of humanity.
We're not humanity, though. We're undead.
True.
Yeah, but the undead at this point are the representation of humanity. They're the last hope for humanity. Because if they don't essentially you wake up, and if you're not the person that links the fire, humanity will die off.
No. Humanity follows the age of fire. Because this is the gods that want to link the flame to keep their age of fire. It's what supports the gods. If the fire dies, then it becomes the age of man. So that's why the gods want the fire rekindled, to keep the gods' age alive. And if the fire fades, then it
Do you
becomes...
mean gods? Do you mean lords?
Yeah. Who do you mean when you say
You need to be
gods?
very specific with that, because it's different.
I don't know what gods they are. I'm just saying it's a god's age. I don't know what gods they're referencing specifically. But that's why they want to keep this age of fire going. Because the lords are different. They're not gods. They're just people that are more powerful than the general public that can...
Well, they were the ones before you to link the flame.
Yes. Yeah.
All the Lords of Cinder are the ones that linked the flame before you. Okay, anyway, so your pilgrimage is to go link the fire. What you're supposed to do is you're supposed to go and defeat all the previous Lords of Cinder.
Which were supposed to be in their thrones, but they decided to leave their thrones, right?
Well, can I just chime in real quick? So the reason you're awaking from the ash and the bells have tolled is because the fire was failed to be linked and is dangerous. It's in danger of going out.
Oh, right.
Now, what that ties into, at least what I believe, is it King Lothric, the last Lord of Cinder that you fight? Is it Prince Lothric?
And Lorien.
What I think started the whole cycle of this game specifically is he refused to link the fire.
Not refused. He failed. He failed to link the fire.
There's a piece of lore where he's like in love with his twin brother. I think they're twins. But there's a little thing, an inscription that you read where they decided to not link the fire and sit and watch it go out from afar.
Yeah,
essentially.
I remember. That sounds familiar.
Like they didn't want to link the fire. Like they were done with this age. And I think that's what sparked the bells of toll, because somebody refused to link the fire. So it was in danger of going out. That's why the bells tolled to bring the Ashen.
and we rise.
That's how I interpret it, at least.
Okay.
All right, so we're undead.
Yeah.
We
so-
represent humanity, but we're undead.
Yeah.
We can die multiple times.
Yes, humans are at this point are pretty much undead. Because we're undead, we can die and be brought back by the flame. So that's what that's how they say, oh, you can come back at the bonfires and stuff. That's like their narrative
For
pitch
unlimited
for that.
lives.
Yeah. So you have to defeat all the Lords of Cinder, place their remains on their thrones. Then you have to go fight the Soul of Cinder, and then link the bonfire. That's pretty much the overarching story here.
True.
There's tons of different little intricacies to like the lore and things like that, but that's like the main idea. You're traveling through, defeating the old lords, and essentially you get to make some interesting decisions at the end. So do you want to just talk about the endings real quick and then kind of get
there's
into the lore?
a couple other things. Well,
Do you want to touch on first before we get to the endings?
kinda. Like almost like the reason that you're tracking down these souls of Cinder, or not souls, Lords of Cinder. So they're missing from their thrones. One came back,
Which is in the Firelink Shrine.
Yeah, he's in the Firelink Shrine. He's the little old. Well, he's not old.
the
He's
exile.
like burnt.
But
The
is
exile.
he
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
is he really a Lord of Cinder?
He is
He
Lord
is.
of Cinder.
He is a
now,
Lord of
Okay.
now
Cinder.
it says that they're all powerful beings, but they can gain that power through different means. It doesn't have to be they're just a brute strength guy.
Right.
They can gain their power. His whole thing was he was manipulating souls. Like he found a way to like experiment with souls and be able to like withdraw souls from the bodies of people, and that's why he's able to turn them into items. He knows
Right.
how to
Yeah, he-
manipulate souls.
That's why you can take the boss souls to them,
Right.
and have boss weapons and things like that.
So that was kind of his channel to getting a lot of power. And if you notice, he's the only one that came back to the throne, which
Mhm.
tells you a couple things. One, the other Lords of Cinder don't fully believe in the Age of Fire. Like, they linked it because I guess that was their original pilgrimage, but they didn't really buy into it. So when it came time for them to honor their duty and come back to their throne, they, like, refused.
Right.
They're like, fuck that shit. I'm not getting burnt again. Because you could see the exiled's body.
Ow.
He's all, like, pruned up from being burned before. It's just, yeah, I don't know. He was just the only one that fulfilled his duty, I guess, by coming back. So the other ones had very strong opinions, I think, about rekindling it again.
Well, they all had their own reason to not come back.
True, yeah. And,
Yeah.
and some of those are harder to, I guess, decipher than others, to be honest.
So the basis is none of them wanted to die if someone else linked the fire, because the second someone else links the fire, they're all dust.
Well, there would have only been one then, because they didn't all link it at the same time. You know what I mean? Let's say Yorm lit it first.
No. I'm sorry. If they're sitting on their thrones, they become dust. So that's why you kill them and you bring their remains, because it's not going to matter.
That's true. Like how many times can you be lit on fire? I think
Yeah.
and survive it. It's
3.
they're probably all
3's the magic
weakened from the
number.
first time that they lit it. That a second time probably wouldn't.
So that guy that we were just talking about, if you notice after you link the fire and beat the game, he's ash, and his just crown is sitting
I
there.
noticed that.
And there's a ring that you can pick up from him.
Oh, I didn't get his ring. What does
Yeah.
the ring do? Do you know?
Oh, it gives all your stats like plus 30 or
Shut up.
something like that.
That's not true.
Probably should have picked that up.
That's not what happened.
No, it's something okay. It's not great.
I don't think it was amazing.
Yeah, I didn't use it, so
Actually, you know what it was? It ups your encounter rate, like or the range that enemies can.
did he have the skull ring? Was
I
that
think,
what it was?
Yeah, I think that's what
Okay.
it was.
Oh, okay.
Essentially, you're trying to kill the lords, light the bonfire at the end of the game.
Right.
At the end of this like long pilgrimage, and you're meeting all of these characters. You're kind of getting some backstory to them and things like that. So why don't we talk about the different endings we got?
Yeah. So once you kill the Lord of Cinder, the first flame is basically vulnerable for whatever you want to decide at that point.
Right.
Did you guys have multiple options or just one option?
Well, you can unlock multiple options. Like when I
Yeah.
went into it,
Yeah.
I could have done one of the 3 things you can do.
I could only do one.
Okay.
You could do 2.
You could
would
have done
been
2.
able to do 2.
You
I
would have
could've-
been able to
I
do
could have
2.
refused or something.
So
Let's
could've-
do them in order.
Yeah, sure.
Let him do his, you do
Yeah.
yours, and then I'll do mine.
Yeah.
I beat the Soul Cinder. You guys helped me out with that. Well, I wanted to talk about that more in gameplay. But when I got to the bonfire and he was done, and I lit it. I think I pushed
You
X.
You
Rekindled.
relinked the fire.
I relinked it. Basically, I sit down and you sort of look at the sun, which is in like eclipse or whatever with the fire, and then the fire transfers to his left hand, I think it was, and it just kind of floats there, and he like looks at it and then looks out into the distance, and then credits. So I didn't really I didn't get like an interpretation. I didn't really know exactly what happened.
I think he just rekindled the first flame.
Yeah.
So your body's
Yeah.
burning. You're now a Lord of Cinder.
Right. Okay.
Right.
Simple as that.
You're going through your burning process to become a Lord of Cinder, pretty much.
Yay! I get to burn.
All right. So I'll state mine. There is a dark area that you can go to where you have to fight Gundyr again.
And Champion is the second one,
Okay, Champion Gundyr.
Yeah.
So once you best Champion Gundyr,
which I did.
you can go and you can find an old dark Firelink shrine.
Right.
And when you go through and you're exploring the ruins, you find some eyes.
Yep.
You give the eyes to the Firekeeper maiden, and she's blind, so she puts the eyes in,
Yeah.
and it gives her these visions of all of the handmaidens before her.
Typically, firekeepers are not allowed to have eyes.
Yes,
Right.
they pluck them. If they're going to be a Firekeeper, they pluck the eyes out.
Ouch.
Well, they burn them out, I believe, actually.
That seems fitting.
I would say that seems more appropriate.
But so she gets the eyes and puts them in, and she sees like horrors of all of these things, and pretty much she begs you to end her or take the eyes at whatever cost.
She said that to me.
Yeah. She's like, please take these away. I've seen things that I should not have ever seen, and they won't go away.
I don't think she demands it though. I think she's like, if you wish it,
Yeah.
kill me and take them. She's like almost your servant. She'll do whatever you want to do.
She kind of asks if
Yeah,
you,
kinda,
if you
like-
talk to her, she's like,
Because she's
like-
horrified by some of the shit she sees.
yeah, she's like, please take these back at whatever cost. Kill me. If it means killing me, then do it. Like, so, and then she says, hey, after you kill the soul of Cinder, essentially, summon me to you, and I will help. After you kill the soul of Cinder, you're standing there and you have the fire, and then a soapstone sign appears, and you can summon the Firekeeper. That the Firekeeper kind of explains to you, like, okay, so what do we want to do with this? And you can pretty much walk over. She picks up the last ember, and you just snuff it out, and everything goes dark.
Right. Okay.
Huh.
And
The true ending.
well, she after a while the whole screen's black, and then she's like, Ashen One, can you still hear my voice? Essentially stating that a new age is about to begin.
Ah.
The age of darkness, the age of humanity. The full age of humanity, no longer an age of fire.
And they do refer to it as the Age of Darkness, as
Yes.
if man is an evil force.
So there's another ending that I wanted to touch on that involved that ending, because yours is going to be
Yeah, I
completely
know.
different. It doesn't have the fire.
If you're in the middle of the sequence and you kill the Firekeeper.
yes,
Oh.
if she grabs the ember and you attack her before the screen goes black, you do some really mean shit to her. You like walk over, you put your foot on her head, you take the ember, and then you pretty much become like an actual fucking like lord. You I think actually take over as the soul of Cinder, because your entire you
Okay.
like push it into your chest and your entire body's on fire.
Damn.
that's not even relinking the flame. That's like a totally different.
Yeah, it's weird. It's almost like a glitch of the game. Like they do have that sequence, so it's not.
It's a
glitch.
cutscene. There's a cutscene
Yeah,
where you step on her head.
But like the other 3 endings you get an achievement that pops up.
Yes.
No achievement comes attached to doing that.
Right.
Really?
There's no achievement for that. That was kind of like a, hey, let's just throw this in there. See who's a monster.
Yeah. All right. So the ending I got, I had access to the other. Were you done? Or?
Yeah, I was just going to say, explain what you had to do to get your ending extra.
Okay.
Because Ralph didn't have to do anything extra to get his ending. I had to do the little bit with the going into the darkness, and you had to do the...
So the first part of this, you encounter at the Undead Village. Right when you start that map, do you remember going down a stairwell and the dogs are attacking the hollows out in the courtyard? And
yeah,
then
and all the pilgrims are at the the
Yes.
broken bridge. Yeah,
Did you find the pilgrim that's over there?
I did.
So it starts with him. He was on his pilgrimage. I think
He says like he just didn't die.
I think they're almost on a pilgrimage to stop the fire from being rekindled because they support the Hollows. It's like this whole society dedicated to the Hollows reigning over this world instead of the gods, kind of, more or less. And he was the only one that didn't die. I guess they were on the pilgrimage and they were supposed to die at some point, but he didn't die. And he's thinking that maybe there's a reason for that to assist you. So you take him back to the Firelink Shrine, and he basically gives you 5 dark sigils. They're described as these almost like black holes that exist on your body that are just completely devoid of light. It's almost like a portal into another dimension that just sits on your body.
Sounds like fun.
Like just eating everything, like a black hole would, like light, matter, like whatever. And it slowly consumes your humanity, just little piece at a time. And he gives you 5 of these. And once he gives you 5, he dies. Essentially, it's like pulling, I don't know, you're almost stealing his soul into your body to get this.
I checked on him at the end of my game because I didn't take any hollows from him or didn't do anything.
Okay.
And he's still dead. He's just dead, and I have no idea why exactly.
A lot of people, if you don't come back to them at the right time, they just die.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's quite a few actually.
Yeah, a
are
lot of them die if you're not keeping up with them.
So you get 5 dark sigils from him. And then you meet a character,
Henri and Horace?
Henri and Horace.
Yeah, I remember them.
One doesn't talk much. He just grumbles a lot. And Henri, by the way, I played as a female in this game.
Whoa.
Yeah, I like to change up. I always play as like a male character that just looks just like me in a game. So I was just like, fuck it. I'm just going to, whatever.
I'm
So
going to
he
be
made a
chick
female
this
that looks
time.
exactly like him.
Bald with a beard.
Weird,
Yeah,
bald.
Sinead O'Connor.
So my Henri was a male character. He sounded kind of nerdy too, whatever voice they picked for him. So you meet Henri, and you don't really see that character again for a little while, to be honest. But then, what is the next point?
I never saw them again, actually. I must have missed them.
You have to meet Henri again at the church.
Cathedral of the Deep?
No, Ethereal Church.
Oh, no, there is the
Ethereal
cathedral right before the one Lord of Cinder fight, the giant skeleton fuck.
Lothrier? No.
The giant skeleton.
Remember that one where you had to bust the bracelets off of his
Oh,
arms?
Wolnir.
Wolnir. In the caves, right before Wolnir, you have to find Henri again.
Lame boss, by the way. But go ahead.
And he was looking for Horace. Like they were traveling companions.
Yep. Not lovers, companions.
Which I think they
Just friends.
also, in some fashion, supported the Hollow.
Yes.
They were on their way, to defeat a Lord of Cinder, I think.
Yeah, they were going to try to defeat...
They had a personal vendetta against somebody.
I think it was... No, I thought they were going to kill Pontiff.
Really?
I think you might be right. And there's a reason Horace doesn't speak anymore, because I think he was tortured by the Pontiff.
Poor
I could be
Pontiff
wrong.
Sullivan.
Pontiff was
call him
kind of like a tyrant of the land, and like
Yes, he was.
really fucked with the capital to get to the higher up capital.
He's like the Pope.
And Orlando.
Like
See
he
what you
he
did.
basically like a lot of corruption in the politics and just like really took over that entire area and was like a self-appointed leader of the area.
I thought he was just a dude with 2 swords.
So he
He's
became
that guy.
Real quick, if you want kind of his backstory, he essentially became one of the knights for Gwyn. Gwyn is a character that's only referenced in Dark Souls 3, has nothing to do with Dark Souls 3. He's one of the original lords. He's one of the original gods. And he was actually like the Lord of Humanity. So he had a bunch of knights, and the knights would all jockey for position. Vort was one, Pontiff was one, and Yorm, I believe, was another one at one point. So when Gwyn went away, there was a power vacuum, and essentially Pontiff stepped up and was like, hey, Dancer, you're going to be my enforcer. So the Dancer became his enforcer. Vort crumbled to the pressure of the whole thing, and Yorm left. So then the Dancer and Vort became his knights. He stepped up into the role, and he was a tyrant, and he tortured people. He took the entire knights and turned them into visions of himself. That's why all the knights in that area are like
They look like the
silhouette-y
Pontiff.
and look
Oh.
like a little bit like the Pontiff.
Huh.
There's also a reason why Vort and the Dancer are so close.
Right.
Like location
proximity,
wise. Yeah. So anyway, Henri and Horus are actually hollows. Like it's kind of hard to decipher, but they're undead as well, just like you.
Wouldn't tell by their armor.
No, you
Wouldn't be
couldn't.
able to
You
tell.
couldn't tell. And like I was saying again about the hollows, they start losing their humanity over time. While Henri is looking for Horus, you find Horus in it was that lake area called
Smoldering Lake.
Smoldering Lake.
I didn't go there.
It's a
That's
hard
why I didn't see
area.
It's a really tough area.
And you have to find Horus in like a hidden cave there, and he's completely lost his humanity. He just charges you right away when you find him, so you have to defeat him.
Oh shit.
I see.
Or else Henri wanders off and dies looking for Horus. So you take Horus out of the equation and you admit it to Henri and just tell her. But yeah, if you don't kill Horus or you mention something about seeing Horus, she'll wander off, or he'll wander off depending on your playthrough, and that kind of ends the storyline. So that's why it's important to go kill Horus so he doesn't go looking for her.
Yeah, because you have to give Henri proof that Horus is gone.
So the next part. So I forget her name, but she takes the place of the pilgrim at the shrine. I forget her name, but she's leading this movement for the Hollows essentially, and is like works as a guide. I can't remember.
Did she give you more hollow then?
No,
Or-
but she kind of tells you what you need to do to become like king of the Hollows.
Oh.
And she basically tells you no king or queen can take the throne without being married. It's like
you have to find a waifu. That's why everybody was referencing possible wife as I played through the game.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh.
so what you have to do is this dark ritual where you marry Henri.
And then
But
brutally
but
murder.
when you marry Henri, it's essentially you walk up to the body of Henri and put your sword through his head. Apparently that's marriage in the Dark Souls world.
Oh, that's so romantic.
But you gain another 3 dark sigils from doing this. So you have a total of 8 dark sigils.
What do they do exactly? Because I don't know.
with
they-
the dark sigils?
Yeah.
You need them to become hollow.
That's
yeah.
it.
They suck the humanity out of you.
Okay.
And the more you get, the faster.
It
Pace.
takes place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So essentially, you have 8 dark sigils. At this point, you accomplish everything you need to do with Henri.
Wow.
The character's dead.
Served a purpose.
Mm.
So anyway, at that point, you just need to defeat the Lord of or the Soul of Cinder. At that point,
Right?
instead of snuffing it out or rekindling it, you take it for your own,
Okay.
and then you're like king of or queen of the Hollows at this point, and like leader of this thing. So you
So-
take the age for yourself.
Queen of the Hollows.
You're taking it from the gods
And
for
you're-
yourself.
Yes, you become
Kim
the
Kardashian.
It's the age of you when
Queen
you
of the
do
Hollows.
this.
Oh shit.
And that is the evil ending of the game.
Yeah, it's a very hard ending to get because you could easily fuck it up.
Yes. All the hollows and stuff all trace back to something in Dark Souls 1 called Kal. And he's like this guy that is in it for himself and kind of lays the groundwork for this to happen. He looks like a giant
serpent.
Yeah, like a serpent thing with dog ears and giant googly eyes and
He
shit.
sounds
Weird.
cute.
He's a really creep. He's a creep. So when you take the cinder for yourself and you walk up that row and you have all of your knights. So like as soon as that happens, all of the hollows that have made it are standing there in lines as your knights. And when you're walking up, the first knight on your right is Henri.
I missed
Henri
that.
comes back to life because he or she is an undead. So after
didn't
you
catch that.
marry
Temporary
them-
murder.
yeah, Henri is there, and is your first knight, which I thought was kind of fucking cool.
That is kind of cool.
So yeah, those are the three like endings of Dark Souls 3.
All right, let's talk about some of our favorite NPCs. Zigward.
What the fuck, man?
Sigward.
Sieg. Sieg.
Sieg.
Say Sieg.
Sieg.
Sieg. Word.
Siegward.
Word.
Siegward.
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 Squidward.
It's pretty much
Squidward.
Squidward.
Just say Squidward.
Siegward.
Siegward Katarina was definitely my favorite character. I loved seeing that damn Onion Knight when I'd reach an area. I really liked when what is it, the Ithel, when you just happen on him like he's at a fireplace. God damn it!
The Firelink Shrine?
No, he's just at a fireplace and he brewed some Estus soup and he's just like sitting there.
Oh.
That was
when he's in Ithriel Dungeon.
Ithriel. Okay, thank you. Ithriel Dungeon. Yeah, I can't say the name to any place in this game.
No, you're doing great.
No, I'm not.
Don't let him bring it down.
I just like happened upon him, and I was like, "Oh, there he is again! I was like, this is great!" Like he was easily my favorite character. I love the performance of the voice actor. I love his dialogue. I love that you can share a brew with him, and he gives you the brew, the whole thing. And
Siegbrow.
yeah,
Hey, did you play the scene when you go to the Katarina wine mixer?
what?
Never mind.
Brows and hose.
Browse and hose?
Brows and hose. Brows and hose.
No, I didn't.
No.
I found it to be
No?
tragic
Oh.
that he die. Basically, either he dies in battle fighting his friend in Yorm the Giant, or we defeat him and then he fulfills his vow and dies. Basically,
Yeah, he's just so overcome by the moment that he passes, pretty much.
right. I mean, him falling down the well is funny, I guess, or him being
Trapped down the well because of patches.
because of Patches, right? And who you see later, and I was like, that voice doesn't sound quite the same. Oh well, I'll just cross this bridge. Nope.
Yeah. Patches tries his best accent.
Yeah, right. He just to me is one of the highlights of the game. Great character.
Carla is interesting. The witch. You have to pretty much go out of your way to rescue her. I did it because I had my pyromancer. So like I needed her to teach me like the really high level spells like Chaos Bed Vestiges and like some Dark Orb stuff.
Oh shit, that was probably a male character for me too. Undead or not the undead, the swamp area.
No.
I saw him too.
There's Cornax,
Oh, maybe that's who I'm talking about.
In the
who's
swamp
the
area.
original pyromancer guy, where he has a blind. He's has like a blindfold.
He's up in the building right before the
Crystal Sage.
Crystal Sage.
Yeah, no, that's not Carla.
Okay.
Carla, you have to find in the dungeons of Karthus with all those guys that like look at you and take your health down.
Oh,
Yeah, you have to run around and free her.
That place sucked.
Yeah, that's a tough place.
it's a good leveling spot though.
It is. It 100% is. So yeah, she was really cool, and she's kind of interesting because she's one of the original descendants of where pyromancy started, and so she's like one of the not daughters, but like daughters in like the like quotation sense of fire from like the original Dark Souls for pyromancy, and I think that's like fucking awesome.
That is pretty sweet.
And yeah, I mean that's like probably Siegward's my favorite, but I did really like Carla as well.
I mean, it's kind of really hard to beat Squidward.
Squidward.
SpongeBob. Where's my armor?
I guess very mild storyline. Like this character wasn't around super long, but in the Undead Village, I spent a lot of time in the Undead Village. Like if there was one area that I think I fully explored, it would be that area.
Okay.
But there's this girl you free from a dungeon in that area right before the tree that you encounter. The
Like the great Deku tree.
yeah, the Great Deku tree.
Yeah. Rotted dead.
Curse rotted deadwood, yeah.
But there's a character in a cell, and then there's I don't know what, he's some kind of character with a giant like axe sitting on a rock.
He's Dragon Slayer.
Yeah, and he was, I guess, following her because she had all this potential to do great things, but she never reached her full potential and just
Yeah.
ended up in a dungeon. And he's almost like, just quit on her kind of thing. She's not worth it. But you free her and get her back to the Firelink Shrine. And he kind of comments on that as like, why would you free her? Like, she's not even worth it, more or less. But despite him saying that, he checks up on her and he makes an agreement with you that we're allies as long as she lives, essentially.
Huh.
And there is even a point in time, and it's very brief, like in between bosses or something like that. But he comes to the Firelink Shrine, and when you communicate with him, he basically says, like, I'm just here to check up on her safety, and she's still alive. So it's like you fulfilled, and he kind of disappears or dies or something after that.
He was there the entire time for me. He never left the Firelink Shrine.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
He's a fucking beast.
I'm wondering if maybe I used him for a boss fight and maybe he didn't make it, is what I'm guessing.
I didn't summon
Possibly.
anybody except for you guys at the end.
So I used quite a few NPCs for fights.
Well, you
and-
said you had your Sigurd die.
Well, that one's I didn't like
Oh yeah,
call
that's
him.
right. You don't
That
summon
is-
him. Yeah.
That is I got to the point in the story where he comes in on his own.
So if you don't save him, he won't show up.
Yeah, because I got to Yorm without him, and I had seen that was part of, like I watched the video on his lore, and I was like, well, where the hell is he? Like I don't get it. And then I went and found him and took him, released him from the dungeon.
I should have taken more time watching all this about the lore. I feel so left out. I guess
You
I was
have to
just focused
rewatch
on-
some of those videos, though. It
Yeah.
doesn't sink in fully the
Yeah.
first time you watch it.
Yeah.
There's so much information coming at you so quickly, and you kind of have to pause a couple times just to be like, what character is he talking about? Oh, okay.
Gotcha. Yeah, it does seem like just a big handful. It's just like, here you go.
It's a
Here
lot.
you go.
That cutscene with Sigurd though is badass. Where you're like stepping in and you see Yorm and he's like slowly standing up, and then your character just kind of looks off to his left, and Sigurd's 2 steps ahead of you. Like, I'm here, Yorm. I am here to fulfill my promise to you.
here to fulfill my promise.
Yep.
No.
And he puts the sword up.
Maybe we should talk a little bit about that, like why he was there, like what that promise was that he made.
That if he lost his mind, he would kill him, right? Isn't
Well,
that what it was?
Yorm was on the pilgrimage to basically snuff out the flame, and he failed. And he ended up becoming a Lord of Cinder almost against his will, more or
Yep.
less. And I think lost his
noodle.
yeah, a little bit. And I think they made some kind of deal beforehand where he's just like, if I fail this, or if I don't live up to my mission to put out the flame, you must kind of like defeat me or
Yeah, you have
put
to
me
take
out of
me
my
out.
misery.
Yeah.
So then, how does he get connected to the profane flame? Do you know that, Clark? Because that's where he is, right? Like he's in the profane capital, Yorm.
Yeah.
And
Oh, okay. Yeah.
the profaned flame is like right there.
That's just where that's where he was pretty much like
Was he like corrupted by it, or
kind.
I think so.
of-
I think that's part of the chaos flame
Yeah.
that was created, and it doesn't follow the same rules as like the first flame.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not like the ember.
okay?
It's not like the driving force behind the world. It's like it's like a man-made flame almost. It's not the same type of thing. I think he's there to protect it. I think that was his thing, is to protect the chaos, because they viewed the chaos as another way to get away from the cycles of flame. But it's not what he had originally set out to do. So Sigurd was like, I have to keep my promise. That's just such a badass scene,
yeah.
though.
That and the Abyss Watchers cutscene are highlights.
I fucking love the Abyss Watchers, and I love the lore behind them. Like, just like
They share a soul, right, or something like that.
So the Abyss Watchers, like, they gained their power through destroying souls of the Abyss, and they started to kill all of the, like, anything that had Abyss or corruption attached to it. They would kill it because they were trying to rein in the Abyss. And what happened was one of their kind got corrupted by the Abyss, which then corrupted all of them. They were like kind of like a hive mind type of thing. So if you notice, like, when you go to fight them, you can see the Abyss starting to creep up their coats and their cloth. And that's why they're attacking and killing each other, is because they all see each other as having this Abyss, and they're like, oh, you can't live.
And then they're stuck in some perpetual curse where they just keep coming back. And that's
Yeah.
why the room is littered with bodies.
Yeah.
Because as soon as one defeats the other, another spawns in.
Yep.
Just like it's...
Like a never-ending cycle.
And it makes sense, too, that, like, it looks like they were on their way to maybe kill Wolnir.
And then they got
And
stuck.
that's when they got corrupted.
Yeah.
Because if you notice, it's above the dungeon of Wolnir. And Wolnir as well, he's trying to escape the Abyss, but he's more like centralized to the Abyss. And that's why he has the gold cufflinks. It's what keeps the Abyss at bay. But when you break that stuff off of him during that boss fight, you notice like the cutscene at the end. Well, it's not really a cutscene, but he gets dragged into the darkness, which is like the symbolism for the Abyss 1. It finally fully consumed him.
You want to talk about the princes at all?
Oh, I like the princes.
I like the princes too.
Again, tying back, like, I don't know how much there is to say.
It's just interesting how the one, like they sort of the way that they work together, and that might be, you know, gameplay, but the way that they are bound together through the story, and how one is weak and one is mentally weak but physically strong, and the other one's the opposite. And he has like those really long like fingers and stuff.
So that ties into a book that I used to read called Dragonlance.
Dragonlance, okay.
Yeah, Tale of the Twins. It's a pretty popular medieval fantasy type series. And you actually see a lot of names that are based off of that for Dark Souls players, which I kind of thought was funny.
Really?
Like, I saw somebody named, like, Tanis Half-Elven and stuff like that, which is, like, one of the main characters. The two twins' names. But there's one twin that's a giant brute.
Right.
And there's another one that is, like, weak and frail, but an incredible wizard.
Right.
And that's essentially Lorien and Lothric as well.
Right.
No, that's such a cool boss.
Yeah.
In general. Now, I don't know all of it. I'm not an expert. I don't want to claim to be an expert on that area. I just know. I still strongly believe they were the ones that started the cycle of this game, because they didn't want to kindle the flame. Now, I know the one was cursed. Like, one was chosen, but they thought the other was a better fit.
Yeah, that was it's the wizard was chosen, the warrior
They thought
was a better fit.
Yeah, it was a better
Okay.
fit. But I know one of them was cursed, and there is a reason that the younger one is the strong one.
Oh, wait. Isn't that why they failed?
Because of the curse?
There was something got cursed.
I thought it was supposed to be the wizard was supposed to be the one that rekindled the flame.
I think you're right.
And I think Lorien did it. No, Lothric did it. And because of that, it didn't like count. And they failed.
I don't think they did, though, because then I don't know. But
Okay.
I know something happened. There's a reason why he's crawling on the ground.
Right.
And he doesn't fully stand because he's in a weakened state. And that's why he's on his knees a lot of that boss fight. And he stands up just to like drop the sword again, kind of like that. That's like the last of his energy. I don't know. I think there's more to be learned there, but
Yeah, I think so too. Even by us. Like I don't have a full grasp on Lorien and Lothric.
Yeah,
No.
put 60 hours into the game, maybe 20 hours of YouTube videos about the lore, and you're scratching the surface for Dark Souls.
Yeah, it's true. It's
I
true.
feel we have a better understanding than most, though, because I think a lot of people just play this game just for the gaming aspect, and
Well,
just
sure.
totally miss that.
Sure. Well, that's pretty comprehensive for for what we want to talk about story-wise.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think it was as scattered as Bloodborne's.
No, Bloodborne, we went on like some crazy ass tangents.
True.
So maybe it is a good point.
Well, we didn't talk about the painting or anything.
I do like that whole world.
Yeah,
That was probably one of my favorite areas of the game.
Because honestly, if we talk about the DLC, we're gonna have to talk about Gale, and I don't want to get into it.
Maybe a follow-up.
Especially when you do the DLC. There's one boss fight in there that's just glorious. the 3-parter.
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah,
so pretty.
Yeah,
Pretty. Okay.
it is.
Let's move into gameplay. Let's parry our way into gameplay.
See what you did there.
So we're gonna prevent it.
You're gonna stop it. Let's repose.
Here comes gameplay.
or is it repost?
Gameplay.
So, Harry and I beat everything in the game.
Together.
A lot of it was together.
Yeah.
A lot of jolly cooperation.
Like a lot of the nights, it would be like, "Cool, do you want to go first or me go first?" 'Cause
Yeah,
we're gonna do this boss fight twice.
Well,
Who
it just
who
so
wants to go
happened.
first?
It just so happened, like Harry started playing it a bunch. I was wrapping up some other game, and then when I was like, "All right, it's time for Dark Souls," Harry and I were like almost in the same spot. I was 2 areas ahead of him. So, like, it just started happening where I was helping Harry for a while. He got to me, and then we were just trading off. Like, okay, we're going to do my area. We're going to do your area. We're going to do my area. We're going to do your area. And just, like, bonfire hopping.
So that's how you guys got to
There you go.
150 souls level? Or souls level 150 each?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay.
I farmed
Sheesh.
like 1 million blood.
A million?
Yep, souls.
My biggest soul drop was 350,000 souls.
Wow.
You
I-
mean drop
I-
as in lost?
Yes, I dropped and then died on the way going back for it.
Oh,
I was fucking pissed.
Jesus.
I rage quit the one night when I was playing with Clark. I got just so demoralized when
Yeah, what were you doing?
we were on our way to Wolnir
Oh, yeah.
The crypt or the...
and just like lost all my souls that night, and I was just like, that was like 3 levels.
That's why you got to
Just-
spend them, man. You got to get them and spend them. No?
most of the time.
Co-op makes it interesting because when you're doing co-op, the person that is in there as your phantom has half the flasks that they usually do.
Oh.
Yeah.
They're paired to your level unless they're under your level. Also, if you need to like use a bonfire, your friend has to leave the game to use a bonfire.
All these
Oh.
rules. Why so many rules?
Because you know.
Balancing? Okay.
Oh, of course. If I could just like sit there and wait for Harry and like, oh, here, I'll just like redo my Estus and stuff like that. You know,
you would beat
it's-
the game in 5 hours.
Right.
Hmm.
I played the game with 2 different builds. Since you're gonna eventually get into it, I'm gonna go redo my attributes and really kind of tier myself for a 3rd build.
Redo completely?
Yeah, you can completely redo your attributes.
There's like a shrine.
5 times.
Where can you do that?
You have to join a covenant called Rosaria's Fingers. It's in.
You could probably do it more than 5, but you probably have to earn.
Is that the one
No.
you have to hop in the cage in the
no.
the
You-
undead settlement?
It's really fucked up. If you try to do it a 5th time, they'll ask you if you're sure twice, and then you get turned into a grub, and you have to start New Game Plus.
Jeez. Oh my God. Are you sure?
Damn.
What do you mean a grub?
They turn you into a fucking slug.
Oh, those slug fucks?
Yes, in Cathedral of the Deep.
Oh my god.
They turn you into one of those, and you're
Oh.
completely unable to play the game. Or that's that's their lore for it. Is like that's what happens. They turn you into a fucking slug. You can only do it 5 times. They tell you, oh, you have this many times left. But you have to. So you can find 2 pale tongues. You have to pretty much give her a pale tongue to change all of your attributes.
I wish I had put more into Faith when I was, because I used a +10 broadsword for most of the game. I also had a +9 Astora greatsword, and for Soul Cinder, I was like, okay, let me add lightning to my sword because he's weak to it. I was basically saying I'm gonna do anything I can to beat this guy by myself. I'll look up his stuff, and I did. And I looked up his attacks, and I looked up his patterns, and I looked up his phases, and I was like, okay, let me add lightning and see if it helps. And I found that I was doing less damage than I was raw.
Because it
And
splits your damage.
it does, but with the lightning gem, it scales based on your faith, and my faith was literally 11. So I did almost to no benefit, the lightning damage. So I used one of the rocks or whatever and just wiped it out and left my plus 10 broadsword as my weapon. I was doing decent damage, I thought, for that anyway, because like I said, I had 40 dex and 40 strength. I'm not doing anything crazy, ultra broadsword two-handed, but I was getting my hits in and just rolling like a madman, and I couldn't whoop him by myself. But a faith build, yeah.
Yeah.
Faith is tied to lightning, and almost all the bosses are weak to lightning.
Yep. Well, it's the same thing with dark. When I was doing the pyro build, like I just had like a dark orb that I would throw, and I would tick off at least 1/10. Like Nameless King, I was like 1/10 of your life, 1/10 of your life, 1/10 of your life. Chug a potion, 1/10 of your life, 1/10 of your life. It's just hitting, like
Yeah.
you know, because it's a projectile and it's an arc, so you have to like really be on point, or you have to be standing right in front of him and just take the hit and hit him. But when Harry and I were playing, when I went full pyromancer and started using the whip instead of my sword and shit, you saw how quickly I nuke stuff. Even invaders, we would like try to pin down invaders into a corner, and then I just nuke them with AoE.
So the way I played, I went more tanky. Like, I was very balanced, but something that I did, I unlocked the ring that you can equip, like, X amount more weight worth of product.
Hovel's ring.
Yeah, Hovel's ring. I got the cathedral armor set. It's
Cathedral armor. Which one's that?
You remember those big knights you fight down in on the way to Deacons? They have like, the super armored guys. I was wearing their armor.
Oh, jeez.
Jesus Christ.
But if you wear it normally without wearing Hovel's ring, you can barely move. You're like a fucking rock.
I bought the exile armor, and I was like, oh, I can't use this. Oops. Because I was like, it was like that. I didn't have the vitality to wear it.
So I could take a lot of damage because my armor was like insane. So where some characters, it might take 5 hits to knock them down to 0 health, I could probably take like 10. And I play with a longsword. I couldn't find another weapon. Like, I tried quite a few weapons and leveled up quite a few weapons, especially towards the end of the game because I was just experimenting with a bunch of different weapons. I tried like the great swords, and I found an axe that was okay, but I wanted
slow.
I wanted a speed weapon, and like with the sword, I could really time and transition between attacking and putting up my shield really quick. Like I was like back and forth real quick, so I don't want to say I was turtling up, but it was like all timing, more or less. Like I could really block that quick attack and then back to stabbing, and I just like it had a lot of options with attacks. I could do like a thrust up, thrust forward, regular slashes side to side, and it covered a decent range so I can hit multiple enemies. So it worked for me. And it was the first weapon I had in the game, and ended up being the weapon I carried all the way to the end of the game. And just the way it scaled, because I went more balanced, it was graded C and C on strength and dex, so it worked to my benefit that way.
Did you use like a refined gem or anything?
No, I didn't. Just the normal, like every gem that I would have used on the weapon would have brought the damage down.
Right, that's how I ended up.
Because it splits, yeah.
Yeah.
Lightning gems are the only ones that actually add scaling to a different trait. Everything else takes the scaling away. So you lose damage there as well.
I used some gems on other weapons just if I wanted to switch out. Like I wanted to make a fire weapon because there's a lot of enemies really vulnerable to fire in the game. So I carried the torch quite a bit in the game as well.
I used it on those worm guys. They would just like shrivel up when you hit them with the torch.
Yeah, and did you know when you're getting there was a enemy that put like leeches on your body, and you'd see this gauge just kind of fill up?
I think it's the same one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same
if
enemy.
you switch to the torch, it burns it right off of you. So
okay.
yeah, I don't know what else to talk about. It worked for me. It was very balanced, and I wasn't doing crazy damage with my attacks, but it worked for me.
Steve, what was your build like?
It's kind of went along the lines of keeping it balanced. I sword and shield the entire way. I think just because I liked having that bit of like safety net with the shield itself. I just couldn't really see myself giving it up. Plus, just starting to find the rhythm of it, I found something I was comfortable with. So I was afraid to kind of deviate from that. I didn't really branch out. I did play, I would say, like more conservative when it came to like my actual character and such. But hearing about like, cause just seeing the different amounts of like different character types, like the different classes you can have, it definitely looked interesting. Where I want to basically still go through and finish out what I started, but to play as other ones, because I think I'm missing a whole different experience with the game too, with having something where I could have something a little more of like arranged, and kind of seeing how just having basically a melee strict character can be a little detrimental sometimes, but it's how you have to kind of learn and play and get through of it. So
I do want to talk about bosses specifically.
I wish there was a Deacons-like
Trying.
boss in Bloodborne that was like a mob instead of a one character. I thought that was cool.
Rom is the Deacons.
Oh yeah,
those
those
fucking
fucking spider
I
mob.
fucking hate that
Yeah,
fight,
Rom
though.
sucked.
That was a dumb fucking fight. It's just a sloth sitting out in an ice pond.
Shooting missiles at you. For the longest time, I used small shields so I could do better parries. I found I really enjoyed that. And, just working your way around somebody and sticking your sword for a critical, which is incredibly satisfying. I found. Like, it never got old. It never got old.
Oh yeah, crit strikes were awesome.
And again, I tried to experiment with the broadswords a little bit, but I found that they were too slow, and I didn't like...
You mean the great swords?
Sorry, I said broadsword, didn't I? Yes, the
Yeah,
great
which is like
swords.
the single-handed.
Yes, the broadsword is what I used almost exclusively, plus 10 at the end. But yeah, I didn't do anything with spells. It was just like straight knight.
I used the spell thing to my advantage a little bit because I didn't want to put points into it really.
Yeah, is
But
that
I still
intelligence?
wanted to use that. Like I didn't want to just waste that blue bar the entire game. Blue bar, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
FP.
So what I did is really low level spells to kind of supplement your game style. So what I did is I used an enchantment for the weapon.
Yeah, you always used magic.
Yeah.
Magic enchant.
Because I was putting it into like strength and dex, so I was getting the damage out of my weapon. So the way I can do that is enhance that.
Yeah.
Like it only used he basically put an enchantment over the weapon, so I'm getting extra magic damage.
I did that using the items, like the actual like dips or whatever for your, like you buy them and you can add them to
The
your
resins.
sword. Resin, thank you.
Yeah, the resins.
I was using a lot of
yeah.
lightning
Like,
resins.
I used those more towards the end because
Yeah.
they just seem hard to get a hold of early in the game. And they were kind of expensive, but like
Right.
towards the end of the game, I just fucking take 1 billion souls. Just
Yeah,
like-
really. I had a couple spots that were my favorite to grind, and I didn't do a whole lot of grinding, but at the end I did grind at the Profane Capital, where you come in through Yorm's bonfire, and you basically take out all those slow-moving witches and two of the big statues that come down, the bronze statues.
Oh yeah.
So if
That's a
you're-
dangerous area to grind. Like I
Yeah.
died quite a few times there.
I found that to be an easier place to grind because I could take all those guys out no problem. And there were so many of them, I felt like I would get like 22,000-ish souls in a run. I was using the Serpent Ring.
Speaking of which, sorry, to complement the Serpent Ring,
Yeah.
I also had the shield that gave you a bonus as well.
Want. It's something
The
of want.
Shield of Want.
Yeah.
The Shield of One, I never found it.
It's in the lake area.
There's also grinding
Items?
specifically. I showed you that 3 angel spot. There's a
Yeah, no,
spot
I
where
still
there's
haven't fought them at all.
Yes, they're 17K each or something like that.
yeah, if you have the covetous ring on, it's 17k a piece. I sat and just grinded out probably 8 or 9 levels there. Just
I tried them a couple times, but I said forget it. I kept dying.
they're honestly they're really tough if you don't have. So
He was bombing them with magic.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
there's
it
a
was-
gate that you can get them locked on.
yeah, I showed Harry. You can get them locked on a gate, and also if you have the whip. The fun thing about the whip, because that was my other thing. When I was in a pyro build, I had a fire whip, Witch's Locks, which is like the best. It's the best whip in the game, and it has a range of one of the great swords when you do the radius swing.
Oh, okay.
But it did fire damage as well. Damage would scale for dex, faith, and intelligence, and I had faith and intelligence at 40 apiece. So I was hitting for
Those
like 500 damage, but also with the whip, there's no collision detection. So you can stand at a wall, and if there's an enemy on the other side of the wall, you can attack through it. Yeah.
So you cheesed like 500,000 souls.
Well, no, they did that. They did that specifically because the whips you can't
Now watch me whip.
Oh God, I was
Nay-nay.
waiting for it.
With the whips, you can't bust someone's shield, but you can attack around the shield. So if you get close enough, you can whip somebody like behind.
I'll be honest. Gameplay wise, I don't think I achieved this once, and I tried quite a few times. But parrying, I don't think it's as
You're
easy
joking.
as Bloodborne.
You didn't parry once?
No, I don't think so.
Did you use a small shield?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, there's some enemies I can't beat without parrying. Some of those knights. There's that first knight in the swamp that there's your learning curve right there. Like, you have to parry this motherfucker in order to beat him. He's got a huge broadsword. He's in like a hidden area. And I just like went to him until I could parry. And then I used it the rest of the game.
I was too squishy to really fuck around with parrying when I
Okay.
was doing the pyro build. But like I could stand there and like some of the smaller enemies I didn't have a problem parrying.
Yeah.
And it's really cool because if you parry with the pyromancer hand, it's just like a little flame. It does a little flame damage, and then you put your hand in their chest, and then fire erupts from it.
Ooh.
It's pretty fucking
That's
awesome.
a critical. Did you try the Farron Greatsword where it has like a dagger in your offhand? You use that to parry?
I have it, but I didn't try.
Yeah, that's the Abyss Watchers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You have to turn in their soul for it.
Parrying helped with the Abyss Watchers fight.
Yeah, I couldn't
Yeah.
figure. I just couldn't do it.
So how many optionals are actually in the game, boss-wise?
I think 6, I read.
We could try to rattle them all.
Hang on.
Hold on.
I got it
I
up
think
already.
I might be able to just rat them off.
I said I got it up.
Okay, great. Cursed Rotted Greatwood.
Yep.
Nameless King.
Yep. The dragon before the Nameless King.
Yeah,
Yep.
the Ancient Wyvern.
Champion Gundyr.
Champion Gundyr. Dragon
Old-
Slayer armor.
Old Demon. No,
No,
Dragon
Dragon
Slayer
Slayer
is
armor.
not.
He's
He's
is it
mandatory.
yeah.
Old Demon King.
Old Demon King.
Osiris.
Because you guys already said Nameless
that
King
really
and
it?
Ancient Wyvern and Champion Gundyr and the Cursed Rotted Greywood.
There's only 6?
Read them and weep.
Oh, what's the boss on the wall?
On the wall.
Above on Lothric. Or not on Lothric, on the Farron Tower. Remember you go up and then you have to fight that one boss?
He's just a demon.
Yeah, but is he not a
Because demons are recurring. Sort of like when you're with
Yeah, I think he's a mini
Ziegler.
boss. He's not a
Oh,
full.
is he considered a mini boss?
There's a
Yeah.
bunch of mini boss in the game, like all those crystal beasts. What else is there? There's a second crystal sage that you fight in the library or the.
Yeah, that doesn't count.
It's a mini boss though.
It's a mini boss. Yeah, sorry. And also those guys who are kind of like Vort, but they're not.
Well, that's what I was saying. There's
They're
crystal beasts.
Crystal beasts. Okay.
There's a couple of those throughout the game.
Yeah. And they
Oh,
each
there's
drop
that-
a weapon.
There's that fire demon on the way to Smoldering Lake. You got to fight a fire demon that looks basically like a Balrog on the way.
I listed him. One more thing, and then we move out of gameplay.
Yeah, I don't really
favorite boss. That's it. I remember that being a really fun discussion from Bloodborne. So please give me your favorite boss.
Abyss Watchers, hands down. I love the artwork. I love the style of them.
Great, good answer.
I liked fighting them. I thought they were amazing. The cutscenes were great.
Harry, you want me to come back to you?
No,
I'm gonna guess princes for you.
no, it's a DLC boss.
Oh,
Doesn't
okay.
count.
No,
It
it's
was-
gonna
Fuck, it doesn't count.
it's gonna count because it's just phenomenal. The
Look, you hollow bastard. It doesn't count.
what the hell is her name?
Freed.
Yeah, Sister Freed.
Sister Freed? She a nun?
Sister Freed.
She is part of the DLC, but you can pretty much get the DLC with the game. now.
because it was part of it's technically part of the game we played. If you think
Yeah.
about it.
It's fine. It's fine. You can name the DLC.
getting
boss.
time-
I mean,
sure,
other times
technicality.
I haven't
But
been able to talk about DLC. I'm not.
I
butthurt.
do like Prince Lothric though. I thought that
Yeah.
was another really cool looking boss fight.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with the princes as well. You get DLC boss, you can have him. The princes for me, that was one where it was like I played it for a couple hours, and hands down they were whooping me. I stopped. I came back the next day and I beat him, and it was really satisfying when I did. I want to say that I also like the final boss, even though I couldn't beat him, and I put all that time into it. I don't want to think about how long I tried. I think it had more to do with I was just exhausted and I couldn't focus. So it's on me. I didn't get good enough to whoop him, but I do really like the princes and the way that works.
Honestly, while you're talking about it, I thought the Soul of Cinder was kind of anticlimactic, to be completely honest.
That's fine.
Yeah, I kind of thought so too.
Would have expected more. He should have been like a lumbering behemoth kind of like a giant soul of cinder. It just
or he could have been the Nameless King. Like the Nameless King, if you would have swapped where like the Nameless King is and had the Nameless King just be named the Soul of Cinder. You know what I mean? And like
they would have had to redo a lot, I think, though. I couldn't just see like
Or you
with
saying,
all the lore wise, it like
well, of course. I'm just saying like that
think he means
caliber,
battle-wise.
that caliber of fight.
yeah.
I read online that some people struggle more with the princes than they do the Soul of Cinder. So I was like, oh, I just beat the princes. I shouldn't have any problem with the Soul of Cinder. I ended up being ridiculous for me. So I totally get where you're coming from with it being anticlimactic. All right. With that, let's touch on graphics.
Graphics.
I think the game looks fucking incredible. There's not a single thing that I really had a problem with graphically in this game. I think it looks amazing.
I would agree.
I mean, I could like nitpick maybe like some of the really drab areas didn't look that great, but even then, like they had their fucking moments. Outside of Fair and Keep, it was kind of drab.
Yeah.
And it kind of got like there was a lot of muted colors and things like that. And then I remember seeing those like sludge monsters for the first time, and then I'm like, all right, well, it wasn't that bad. You know what I mean? Like it's just like one
Yeah,
of those
they're
things
kinda-
where I was like, okay.
Sorry, just to kind of go off of what you said with like Fair and Keep, I didn't like the look of the early middle of the game. Like Fair and Keep is the one with the little pond, the swamp with the crabs, right? Or is that the
No.
poison? That was the poison swamp, right?
Yeah, the swamp is
Poison
just
Swamp
ugly.
is
What was
Fair
the-
and Keep.
What was the place before that had the crabs in the lake? Because I didn't really care for that area as well.
That was like the high wall of Lothric. It was like right outside of the high wall of Lothric.
Oh, it was right after the undead village. I feel like
Oh,
it's
the
high-
road
are you
to
talking
sacrifice?
about the Road to Sacrifice?
Yes,
Yeah.
Road to I don't like that area. I don't like Fair and Keep. Like after Undead Village, I don't really like the look of the game until you get to like Ithril.
Yeah, Ithril's pretty cool.
It's
Ithril's
really cool.
amazing.
And on Orlando was okay, but I think it's bigger glory in the first.
Yeah.
Is what I'm hearing. But like the later points in the game, I really liked. Oh, there was another place I didn't like that whole
The library?
No, I like the library.
Oh.
I do like the library. I like Lothric Castle too.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, I think it's
The
cool.
wall of it, the actual castle. I didn't like the whole cathedral.
Yeah, the cathedral was boring.
It was boring and it's long.
Yeah.
Well, the Giants, I did spend a lot of time there at the
Yeah,
cathedral.
unfortunately I did too.
The Giants, I was like really intimidated and really scared, and then the one I just like walked up to its feet and started
yeah.
mashing.
They're
on until
not
it fell
actually
over.
as hard to kill as you might think.
Right.
Yeah.
They just have high damage output, but they can't take a lot of damage themselves. It's the mobility, I think, that scares me the most. Because you're in the water, you can't really
Oh, true.
roll around to avoid them, which kind of makes it kind of creepy. But I hated that area. Because you got those mist things that are shooting the gas out of the wall and shit, too. Oh, it's fucking...
Profaned Capital was really fucking cool, where it was just like a bunch of walkways, and then
The brass gargoyles.
yeah, the brass gargoyles and stuff like that. I thought that was really cool as well.
And in the inner depths, it has those weird enemies that are like a hand for. They have like fingers and
yeah,
a mouth and
yeah.
everything. Fuck those things.
Fingers for the mouth.
You
Yeah,
better
Or
to
your
go-
phalanges.
Like other than fighting Sigurd, you have to go like real high into those dungeons.
Are you talking like the invisible things?
No. These things are called like they're considered the abomination, where they have like they're a hand, and then there's like a bunch of it has like a mouth on the hand, and then it's just like void.
You know, Ariel Monsters, the one that holds its eyeballs.
Crumb.
It's that if it was in like a fever dream nightmare.
An Eldritch
Got it.
Actually, it's a
I
pretty.
probably
Bloodborne
saw
enemy.
them. I just can't picture it because I did.
They would roll. You'd get close to them, and they would like roll over you. Anyway, yeah, the architecture is really cool, and the art. And when you get into those areas like Honor
Lando.
Lando and Lothric Castle, like they're really interesting and the high points to me, and Ithril, like you said.
I know you guys didn't experience it yet, but like that the first DLC,
Painted World.
the Painted
Ariandel.
World,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
ice place. I think overall that was my favorite place to explore.
Is that where you get into it and it's all frozen and then there's a big wolf enemy, like a wolf boss?
Yeah.
Okay, I got to the wolf boss really early in the game and I was like, I'm not going. I didn't go back there.
It's
I
a
don't wanna
cool
do it.
area. It's a really cool area. I like the lore in that area. I like the bosses in that area. I think like
I will say that early on, I didn't like the design on the dragons. For some reason, like I thought, like
the
they look
wyverns?
kind of the wyverns. They look a little hokey, but they're very detailed. But I really don't have any negatives either. Steve, you have anything?
Really, a lot of the character models I really did like. It's some of the color schemes seem it could like blend together a little bit. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's not like this is really a game where you're going to have colors like pop. It's not like the overall type of
There's not a lot of
like
green. There's like
green-
no green,
Oh no. I mean,
except for the swamp.
I mean, there really shouldn't be in a type of game. You're basically everything's like based around
Gray,
death,
and ash.
destruction, the rest of it. Yeah, you're not really
Fire.
looking for like flourishing type of like environments or whatnot. But I mean, I really don't have anything to gripe about. I think for what they were going for I don't want to say like necessarily the time period that they were doing, like the
Medieval.
yeah, basically like you felt that, and you really got like a really dark, evil, medieval setting. If that doesn't sound redundant.
No, I think I.
I'll be honest. So I think this game is more polished than Bloodborne, but I do like the world of Bloodborne more.
Yeah, I think I
agree.
know what you mean. I was gonna get there. Would you call that art style? I'm not even sure if it's like the
I think it's more on theme.
Design.
I think,
Yeah,
theme.
it's
I think
it's
all
theme.
of Bloodborne has one single theme, whereas
This is
Night.
medieval.
Yeah.
Bloodborne is
Night Victorian England.
Victorian. Yes,
Yeah,
Yeah, gotcha.
more like Gothic style.
Yeah.
Gothic. Yep.
Mhm.
Gothic Victorian.
So should we move on into sound?
Yeah, let's do it.
Music.
I didn't have a problem with any of the voice acting. I thought the music was like really on point. There's a lot of really good music in this.
The music's good, but Bloodborne stuck out to me more. At least with Bloodborne, I had this one track that I really fell in love with, and I still listen to every now and then. But with this, I was waiting for that and didn't find it.
I like the one song. Actually, I like both songs that play at the Firelink Shrine.
Oh,
Nothing else stands out besides those, so I can't say that. Well,
The menu stands out to me with the choir, like when you first boot it up. But that kind
Yeah.
of music doesn't really occur in the game, I felt.
speaking of music, and this is something John told me about, so I can't take full credit on this. The dancer.
Oh, I like the dancer's music.
The
Thanks.
dancer's
Mhm.
music. This is how intricate that they get with some of the boss battles. Certain tempo plays in the song. She only attacks at certain points, but then the tempo picks up when you hit that halfway mark in the boss battle. So because the tempo picks up, she attacks at a
picks up,
faster
that's it.
rate.
I like how she kind of like...
Dances.
I'm trying to find a better word than meander. She
Glides.
She wanders. No,
Glides with finesse.
I guess you could say it's finesse. Yeah, I really remember being like, oh, I kind of like
She's flowy.
fluid motion. Sure. Yeah, I liked all the voice acting. I liked the dialogue, which is almost Shakespearean.
I think we should spend a moment on that. Like the voice acting is top notch in this game. Just the way that they talk, like the amount of emotion that
They
you can
sell it.
hear. Yes, and it sounds natural. It doesn't sound like anybody's reading from a script
Or like really trying to like phone it in or anything.
yeah.
Yeah.
They had a good director. This voice cast.
Yeah.
I loved that there's this subtle touch that if someone is wearing armor and their face is masked, you can hear their voice reverberating off of the front of their mask. Did you notice that? Like with Sigurd, it has like a tinny sound,
Oh yeah.
and with Henri, it has a little bit of a tinny sound. But then you hear the Firekeeper speak to you, and it's clear as day, and there's no, I thought that was a really interesting touch. Same thing with Patches. Patches is one of those people that talks to you and removes helmets and stuff like that, and you can really hear the difference.
I didn't mention the blacksmith or the thief. I liked both of the voices and their deliveries and everything. And I really liked the blacksmith as a whole, as a character, though he's been working the same piece of steel for hours and he doesn't have a forge. I just want to point that out.
Yeah.
There's no forge there. It's just an anvil and a hammer.
It's like, I got this.
My gripe with the Firelink Shrine, though, when it comes to dialogue, characters that you interact with on such a frequent basis, They should have had multiple lines to spew out instead of the same thing.
thing.
The amount of times I heard, don't squander my work.
Yeah.
Walking away from the blacksmith, just...
Don't tell me that again.
Ah, well met. Well met.
Ashen One.
Well met.
They should have thrown in random
bring
options.
me more souls. Bring me more souls. Change it up.
Farewell,
a little bit.
Ashen One. They should have had a couple dialogue options that maybe just randomly generate or something. It just not generate, but randomly play it on a loop or something.
Some variety. Overall, top-notch, top-tier sound and voice quality. That is how you do it.
Yes.
Thank you, FromSoft. That's how you do it. All right. Then if that was sound, we're in final thoughts. Thoughts. Let's link the fire and talk about our final thoughts. Whoops. Let's put the fire out and talk about final
I think everybody
thoughts.
did that.
Let's do a post-mortem.
Final thoughts.
I think this game is fucking incredible. And I think that if you enjoy challenge or you enjoy interesting, not necessarily surface level lore, and just like really fun gameplay. Like I had a lot of fun playing this game. Sure, I died, but like I had fun. I didn't really I only raged a few times, and like I thought this game as a complete package is out fucking standing.
Just one question. So the fun factor that you had, is that solo and co-op, or is it just the co-op?
Both. I had fun with both.
Cool.
As soon as I made that Pyromancer build, I'm telling you, like when something clicks for you in this game, and it's just like, oh, this is how I want to play this game. It's fucking fantastic.
I want to go back and do basically a samurai character with one of the katanas. Just a thought thrown out there.
I mean, you can redo your stats and change that.
Oh, that's
you don't
right.
have
You
to
might
do
not
that.
even need to rechange your stats. If you
Yeah,
has
if
dex
you-
that high and
True.
strength, like
Yeah, you'll probably be fine.
Good point. I'll just change my outfit.
you don't have to change the outfit, just the equipped weapon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, you just unequip
Eric?
whatever and put the fucking katana in your hand. You're good. Just
Now
fucking-
you're a samurai.
Yeah, now you're a samurai.
Okay. Harry, your final thought.
Fucking my final thoughts. Unequip the weapon, put in the samurai.
I just see that SpongeBob meme.
Press triangle to two-hand, win.
Dodge and win.
And Ralph's face. So, my final thoughts. I guess diving into this game, I didn't know I was going to get the same enjoyment that I had with Bloodborne. Like when I was getting into it, I was very hesitant. I thought I would like it. I just didn't think I would love it, more or less. But I really did. I enjoyed every moment I spent with this game. We should have talked about this in gameplay, but some of the things that Bloodborne lacked, I thought they fixed in this game. I
You
didn't
mean like Estus and blood vials? Were you going
that
there?
was good. Like not having to go back and build up your
grind
inventory. That was fixed.
True. We
Hands
can talk
down.
about that.
I think the multiplayer, not perfected because it's not a perfect system, but it's a lot easier to use than it was in Bloodborne. Instead of ringing,
The
each
chimes,
person has to
yeah.
ring a certain bell within a certain area to get that multiplayer going. All you have to do is read a thing on the ground and summon that character in. Now, it doesn't always work. Laying it like we had some issues and connectivity issues and shit like that. So it's not a perfect system, but it's vastly improved over Bloodborne. But overall, I did enjoy this game. I like the multiplayer aspect of this game. And some might say, oh, you're just cheesing the game or anything, but it made it such a cool experience just running through with your posse. And it was still a very difficult game. It's not like we made it drastically.
It scales for you, right?
Yeah, it scales.
Well, yeah, 'cause-
enemy health.
Yeah, it does scale enemy health. It does, not damage, but the enemy health. So you won't just one-shot a boss or anything like that. But and it ups the PvP ratio and encounters. I don't know, it was just a really enjoyable experience. And I think I have some of the same sentiments as Clark. Not sediments. Sentiments. I still want more from this game. I didn't.
That is a very
Clark,
agreeable head
Clark
nod.
is banging his head right now.
Like, because I think I've done almost everything I can. I got all the undead bone shards. I got
Really?
all the Estus flasks. I
I was-
maxed. Yeah, I guess the only thing I still could go back and do like a perfect playthrough, and when I say perfect playthrough, I mean like not miss any beats with any NPCs or anything, and like get all the NPC characters' storylines fully fleshed out. I bet there's probably like a guide to help you get through that so that you're not missing anything. But I do really want more, and I'm hoping they put out a Bloodborne 2,
or a Dark Souls 4, right?
Or Demon
hoping-
Souls 2.
Yeah, I just
something comes.
yeah, because I don't think that the newest game that they have coming out is going to fill that void.
Sekiro is
Sekiro,
not.
no, because it's too much of a departure.
Yeah, that's my final thoughts. I want more.
Steve?
I did have a lot of fun with this game, despite the difficulty. There were a few rage quits in the beginning, but that's just because Dark Souls is just like its own type of genre, basically. I do think I would get more enjoyment out of it just instead of just taking it like at face what it is, like actually getting into like to some more of the lore and actually getting some more background of it and learning more about it, because I feel like, you know, it's not necessarily something you have to do. I think that's just going to make the experience even like more enriched. So
Depth.
that way, yeah, so you feel like you're more involved in it than just for what you're actually, you know, physically doing. That being said, you know, this is something that I'm still going to continue. It's like I still want to get through it. And then not only that, just hearing about the different aspects that I haven't touched on before, just feel like it's just opens up to like a whole new different type of gameplay. I don't want to say bittersweet, but that's only because I was bitter sometimes playing it just because of the constant death, but it's Dark Souls. That's just what fucking happens.
For me, I gotta say, I really enjoyed it too, and I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. Like, I really can't stress that enough. Like, I was nervous, went into it, and found that I could meet the challenge for almost all the game, and found it so rewarding to do that with minimal guide work, minimal assistance, minimal research. Like, I was finding things and doing things in the game as I really felt like I should have experienced it the first time. I want to sort of sum it up as come for the challenge, stay for the lore.
I always come for the challenge.
Just lob that one up.
It's really rewarding, and getting through those difficult bosses or those difficult sections to find a bonfire that that's it, I don't have to go through that nonsense again. Like, it just, the satisfaction really is there. So I can't gush it enough. I want to say, yeah, if you've never played a Souls game, play it and fall down the rabbit hole. If you're a Souls fan, you already know what's going on. So that's really all I wanted to say. I think we should move into our scores.
The score.
Clark, hit me with your score.
This is a buy for me. This is a buy when it came out at $60. It's a buy at paying full price for the DLC. You don't have to do that anymore, but this is like a buy at $60 plus paying for the DLC. Every bit of this game is worth it to me. Buy.
Steve?
This is getting an A. Again, it's like I have to take my frustration out of the equation because that's too bad. Suck it up. But I still have like the want to keep going and keep playing, and everybody else should too. So get it.
This is getting a gush, in case you couldn't tell. Gush.
We did get a sneak peek back in the last segment.
Yeah, because you did say gushing about
I can't
it.
gush enough
I
about
know.
it. And they're like, oh!
It's there. It's
Spoiler
it's
alert.
a gush. You knew it wasn't going to be a shrug, and you knew it wasn't going to be a bash.
I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10, which ties with Bloodborne for different reasons. Because, like I said, they fixed certain things. I think the animations were better, and I think like it was a more polished game. But the theme is different, and I appreciate the theme of Bloodborne more. So I like them both for different reasons, but they feel in that same vein.
Equal quality.
Yeah, equal quality, just different
Types,
attributes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that is Dark Souls 3. We can't recommend it enough. And next week, check out our MUBRS.
Yep. Stay tuned for MUBRS.
Stay tuned.
All right. Stay sexy.
Game over. Game over. Game over. Game over. Game over.
Thanks for listening to Super Fun Game Review Podcast Go. Stay up to date on our Facebook at facebook.com/superfunpodcast.